And I said to Kim, I can feel the dissonance between us, the dissonance in our relationship. And it was like, interesting. What is it and what does it mean? And what do we do with it? Welcome to Energetics with Kim and Veronica, where we invite you to nourish the energy of your inner why, your inner healing, magic, prosperity, your curiosity, clarity, playfulness. Welcome home. Today we are talking about dissonance, what it means, what it is, how we lead ourselves through it, and different choices that are available to us as we start to notice how it's playing out in our lives. I am Veronica, not Kim, and I'm joined by Belinda Kim Coleman. Hi, Belinda Kim.
Hello.
And welcome. We are here talking about energetics, everything inside the inner game. So let's dive in. Kim and I were having a personal discussion on Thursday about life and business and our relationship and, some big things that have come up between us. So just sharing really vulnerably, because as we share, it helps. And I said to Kim, I can feel the dissonance between us, the dissonance in our relationship. And it was like, interesting. What is it and what does it mean? And what do we do with it? And, dissonance.
What do you do with it?
Yeah. Kim, as we were talking before the call, you'd shared the example of how when music is out of tune, right, it creates a dissonance. Sometimes it's very noticeable. Sometimes it requires a refined ear. But when you're seeing musical instruments as they tune up to each other, they're looking to match the tune, the vibration, the frequency musically. And until they have tuned into each other, there's dissonance. And for a trained ear, I was in music for a while, you can really hear the dissonance until they tune in. And so frequency wise, you can feel the dissonance when there's like friction or there's just something not clicking. It's almost the opposite of clicking. There's dissonance there. And so as you become more proficient in observing the energetics between people in your life and what's playing out, especially in relationships, you can start to feel sometimes you're just like gelling and clicking, and sometimes there's a friction or a dissonance. And we navigated our conversation together with, really pure intentions, with a lot of love, while being very vulnerable with each other, while being, very just sharing our own truths. And, that is an example of a way that we can lead ourselves through some friction and dissonance. And then what does that create? Often when something feels uncomfortable, we want to shut down and run away. But sometimes the dissonance is here to serve us, to guide us, to lead us into something even greater. And so what if we were to pause when we felt the friction or the discomfort and examined our options, examined our choices, allowed it to be, instead of shutting down and running away? What else could be available to us to create?
You said that so beautifully. That was beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, because you know what? So exactly. So there was this thing, and it created dissonance, or there was a dissonance. It wasn't that it created it. We just became aware of this thing. And so we gave ourselves a pause. Let's talk about this. We didn't go into reaction. We didn't go into reaction about the thing, because guess what? There's dissonance at work with people. There's dissonance at the family Christmas table, Thanksgiving table, whatever it is. Dissonance is part of being human, right? It's part of being human. And as you said, it is an actual frequency. So in the moment, if we go into reaction, what's that going to create? Often when we do that, we're making somebody wrong, and we're not being with the thing. So we created a little bit of space, not from a place of not speaking to each other. It wasn't like that. It was like, yeah, let's talk about this maybe tomorrow. Is literally how it was for us. Let's talk about this maybe tomorrow. And so it was like, yeah, today was good. I can do, and so, yeah, so, and it was literally about being super clear with each other. And here's what I love. Here is what I love. It's because we care about our relationship, right? We love each other. We care about our relationship, this relationship to each other, whether we're doing podcasts or not. Our relationship matters to each other. It matters. And so that's why we were like, okay, so it wasn't about fixing anything. It wasn't about a wrongness of anything. It's just like, you know what? I care about this relationship with you so much that I'm just going to give myself and us a little bit of space to just be with my feels about it, and just to allow myself to be in that, knowing that I didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. There's just this thing, right? And so how to be with that thing is what it was. And this happens in, like you said, all of our relationships. So we gave each other that pause. And again, it wasn't from a not speaking to each other thing. It was a respect. It was, yeah, let's just kind of be with this. Because it wasn't going to be a conversation about me trying to convince you of something or you trying to convince me of something. That would be riding on the frequency of wrongness. And that's not what we were doing. And so it's such an awesome practice to give ourselves that pause instead of reaction. Our default is to react, right? It's kind of like, oh, there's a bear coming my way. I better run. Well, we know what happens when you run from a bear. They say don't do that. But yeah, so we gave each other that space. And yeah, that the conversation literally was about, I love you so much. And I have so much respect for this relationship. Just give me space to share, and then let's just kind of be with each other in that way. And we took turns in sharing. It wasn't, I would say something and you would jump in to say your thoughts about that something. There was that space of, yeah, let me just do my thing here, and then you can do your thing there. And so we both got to share from our hearts and from all the feels about it. And yeah, and for me, it was like, it just created, even like you said, even so much more of how to be with each other, how to be with myself when stuff happens. There's all those silly things. And listen, I say silly because they're just so watered down, I think. It's about making, can you take a lemon and make lemonade? All those kind of things, right? And yeah, we can, but what is the how? For me, everything is always about what is the how? What's going on with me inside? And can I be with that? And then when I'm feeling more squeaky clean about it all, then let's have a conversation. Now let's share. So I'm not sharing from reaction. I'm not sharing from being hurt. I'm not sharing from being misunderstood. I'm sharing from what Melanie Ann Laird terms, and so I'm using her words, squeaky clean, showing up squeaky clean. And when we're showing up like that from pure heart, I'm really giving a crap about our relationship, right? Instead of going, guess we're done. That was fun. No, that's a choice, but what's that going to create? That's not how I roll. That's not how Veronica, that's not how you roll either. And so, yeah, life is like that. Life is like that, right? Life is gonna tumble some lemons on you. Hey, I like lemons. I don't know why they call it that way, but anyway,
I do
anyway.
too.
So
I
yeah,
love a
so
good
thank you
lemon.
for you know what? I drink hot water with lemon and a healthy salt every morning before I have my coffee. It's very, oh, isn't that interesting? It actually alkalizes the system. It brings it into neutral and into balance. Well, so when we're taking lemons and turning it into lemonade, isn't that what we're actually doing? Fun.
I love
Just a
it.
fun little connection
Yeah,
there.
exactly. There's so many in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I one of the things I've really been playing with probably over the last year is what does it look like to go all in? So for the things that I really care about, whether it's my relationship as being a mother, my work, what the things that are important to me, what does it look like to go all in? And so when I think about our relationship and whether we continue with the podcast or we do something different or we do something different, I care enough about our relationship to be all in. And so what does that look like? So even pondering that question, and I've done this in my marriage. Okay, I'm going through a tough moment right now. What does being all in this marriage require at this point? What does that look like at this point? And so instead of
Mm.
running away, shutting it down, making things wrong, making the other person wrong, it's about an invitation of how can I lead myself through this to the highest degree that I can. And what does that look like? And I might not get it right every time, but it's a continual evolution. I'm evolving. And they say that relationships are a reflection. Relationships are a reflection for what is ready to be evolved within you. And so, if that's the case, regardless of the relationship, so what is the invitation for me here? And how can I level up? How can I lead with more heart? How can I lead with more truth? How can I hold the person then in more compassion or a higher regard or whatever that might be? But our tendency is to just shut down because we haven't been taught, right? A lot of us haven't been taught other ways of being. So let's shut it down. We're the toddler in the sandbox. Let's shut it down. Let's run away. Let's take our toys. Let's leave the sandbox. And maybe I still do that sometimes because there's still room for evolution for me. But if we could shift into the questioning, like first the observing, you and I talk about this a lot. First we notice, we observe. There's a dissonance here. Okay, now we move to question. What else is available to me? What else can I consider? What might be created out of this? Ooh, right? Instead of just shutting it all down.
I love that. That was, yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. And there was something you said, and I was like, oh my God, I went, meaning more awareness came around. Woof. What was it that you said? Oh, darn, don't. It's not coming in this 10
Was it
seconds. But
something
yeah,
about
so
being all
it's
in?
about maybe, yeah, maybe. Because you know what? Often we jump into things with half-heartedness, and we do that. The half-hearted thing is often a protection mechanism, right? Again, it's not a wrongness or anything like that. But yeah, and one of the gene keys, I don't know which one because I don't know them that well individually, but yeah, there is one about only jumping into that's the shadow, is only jumping in half-heartedly instead of jumping in full out. Recognizing that everything, no matter what it looks like, is perfection. Everything. And that's actually the highest level of that gene key. It goes from half-heartedness to commitment, right? To perfection. Right. And so to be, so I'm committed to my own growth. You're committed to yours, and we love each other in this relationship. And yeah, that's a commitment. And so no matter what, it's all perfect, just as it is. Right. But yeah, it's about experiencing, like you said, jumping in 100%. And we have done that, and we do that. And yeah, what else? Yeah, that wasn't where I wanted to go.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
There was something else you said. It'll either come back or it
Or it
won't.
won't another time. One of the things that's coming to me as well is that you and I are both in a place where we are both seeking the same awareness and evolution, but that's not always the case. So sometimes, folks hear this type of wisdom, if you will, and will say, yeah, but the other person isn't willing to come to the table with me. And so, I would just share, this has happened to me many times at work, right? Where I could feel the dissonance. I have somebody right now that is, a part of my team who works closely to me, who just operates from victim consciousness. It doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter what the scenario is, but it's just like, she is the victim of everything, and everything, the word nightmare is used all day, every day. Like, this is just a nightmare. It's, everything's awful. And, and so that is dissonance for me.
Yeah.
I feel the
and
dissonance
probably
of
for
it.
her, I'm sure.
Me being too positive.
Yeah.
So that's dissonance
Yeah.
for me. And I notice it. I feel like, 'cause it's like, it grates on my soul a little bit because I just don't function that way at work or anywhere, And so, but I don't expect her to be exploring this the same way that I am. And I don't expect her to change. I still look at the dissonance of as an opportunity for myself. And so I'm always like, "Ooh, interesting. What's this reflecting to me? What's the opportunity here? How can I lead myself through it? Can I hold her in who she is? Can I have compassion for her in who she is and what she's lived and her experience, and allow myself to hold that dissonance while still continuing my own evolution? And what gift is that dissonance giving me? I don't necessarily always get an answer in the moment, but just even pondering the question and staying in the question is very powerful.
I think when we ask the question, it's not always about getting an answer. The question will activate that space where it does bring you into that. Because again, everything's inside of us, right? Everything is within. And so just in being in the question of how can I be with this, a part of you will activate and does activate that part of you that's inside that does know how to be with it. And so just the question itself activates it. And so now it's like, can I be them, give them space to be who they are while not losing who I am? I think that's a big one for a lot of people too. Can I give that person space to be exactly who they are? Yeah. Does it mean that I have to make myself small to be around that person? No, no, no. And so noticing if you're doing that, not making yourself wrong, but going, oh, I have a choice here. Okay, I don't need to lose me in this environment. I can allow them to be who they are while I continue to allow myself to be who I am. And for me, the more that I can be that in the world and for those moments, I show up differently. And as I'm showing up differently, I am an influence in that room. Right. So for me, it's that's what it is for me. I show up differently. Now I'm an influence in the room. I don't walk into a room of must change frequency. I just show up as me, my heart, the love that I have for humanity, the love that I have for the world, the love that I have for myself. That's a frequency to reckon with. I'm telling you right now, right? It's like God, goddess, universe on legs. It really is. And again, I'm not doing it as a way of, oh yeah, she's gonna be there, he's gonna be there, or they're gonna be there, or anything. And so I must do this. That's not how it is for me at all. Not how it is for me at all. I just, what if we bring our belonging no matter what, no matter where? And as we do that, we're allowing others to be who they are. Now, listen, does it mean I might invite that person home? No, probably not. Right? Probably not. And that's okay. That's a choice, right? But can I allow them to be who they are and bring their belonging? And by me being me, it's an influence, just like her being her is an influence. But I don't have to allow it to impact me. But I'm not dismissive either. I can include them in my universe, right? Otherwise, I'm creating separation, which we know that does not work. We do verbal diarrhea to the word oneness and then try to create separation. When I can include even that in my universe, no matter what that is, without trying to, separate from it, now I am in oneness. But because I can be so bright and shiny in the face of all of that, that doesn't impact me. But if I get into making it wrong or why, now there's an attachment, if you will. Not an attachment, that's not quite there's an energetic entanglement. That's what it is. Trying to figure it out, all that. It creates this energetic entanglement. But when I can be an allowance of they're just where they're at. They're just where they're at. And I'm just gonna, I can let them influence me, or I can just be me, which there's a possibility might influence them. Doesn't mean it will. I'm not attached to that. It's none of my business. Right? But when I can just be me no matter what, I am bringing my belonging. And yeah. And again, it's way more fun. It just is. Now, listen, I haven't always, it just, it's a practice for sure. But when you become this more and more, it does be how you show up. And then you'll really notice when you're not being that, and not from a place of judgment, but as a place of awareness, right? But yeah, and you know what? Yeah, there's so much. There's just
There's so
so
much.
much beauty out there. There's so much. There's just so much. There's so much beauty out there, but guess what? It's within as well. It is so within. You can't see it out there if you don't see it within first. You just can't. And so by you asking that question, I love that because it activates that within you, right? It activates that within us just by us being curious on, oh, how do I be with this? We don't have to look for the answer or get an answer. It's something happens. It's an activation, if you will. What would be? It's a frequency, and frequency first, right? And yeah, well, who knew where this conversation was going to go where it went? I love that about our conversation.
That's how it is. Yes. Aw, amazing.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Kim. I think
Cool.
that was a great exploration, and always invite folks, if you have any thoughts, comments, reach out to us. We love the comments, the shares, the subscribes, all of that. So if you feel like this conversation can benefit anyone, please feel free to share. That's how we get ourselves out there. And thank you for joining us and being with us and bringing your consciousness to the conversation. And until next time.
Absolutely.